Hey guys, Scott Fishman here. Today, we have a great guest as Impact Wrestling gears up for an incredible couple of weeks. It seems like there's back to back to back big events coming up. So, who better to talk about everything than the Impact Wrestling heavyweight champion, Alex Shelley? How you doing, Alex?
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Of course, every time I have you on or I talk to you or Chris Sabin, I always gotta bring up uh, the fact that you and him are the namesakes of my dogs, the Motor City Machine dogs. We call Shelley and Sabin. Shelley's actually the girl dog. Sabin's actually the boy dog. So
That's
whenever we have a story, whenever we have friends over, they're like, how did they get named? And then if they're not wrestling fans, it becomes a good conversation starter.
sure. How old are they?
Well, one is 12 and one will be 14 this year. So they've been around a long
Oh, wow.
time.
I'm kind of like Gus, I guess.
Say it again. I'm sorry, I missed that.
That's okay. You're good.
All right. So take me through, take me through what the reign of Impact Champion has been. I mean, you're a veteran of the business, but having this milestone on a lot of people may have not saw this happen for you. It's not because of your abilities, but just because how the wrestling business is sometimes. But when you have a match coming up, you're like, okay, this isn't going to happen, and then it does, and one of the most expected like surprise matches and surprise wins with you winning the title. It was such a feel good moment. So put into perspective like the last couple of months of representing the company like you have.
Uh, I get this question somewhat frequently as far as like how it feels different. And it really doesn't feel that different because even preceding the title match, and certainly for about 2 years before that, maybe a year and a half, I was so busy and working so hard. In 2022, I had over 100 matches and I was working 40 hours a week full time. And I don't necessarily think I'm the most naturally gifted pro wrestler, but I do think I'm working. And I think post championship win after I beat Steve Macklin, nothing, my schedule was still so filled out. And I carried on that same work ethic with me, or just put my nose to the grindstone and did everything I could. But it doesn't feel any different being champion than it did preceding the title match. It just feels like have copious amounts of work in front of me and I'm going to do my best with it. And I think because I had that schedule for 18, 20 months beforehand, that was what prepped me to be a champion in the first place. If I hadn't been so busy, you would have cracked under pressure, and I didn't. Instead, I thrived, and I'm continuing to thrive. I've only had the belt for since June, so going on maybe 3 months, and that's not that long in the world of pro wrestling, especially when you consider some of the longer title reigns and Impact. So I've got my work cut out for me going forward, but I knew that this is a job. This is what I signed up for.
Yeah. And easy when you were going to face Nick Aldis, maybe people were also thinking, okay, this is just going to be like a transitional period, but they've obviously invested time and effort and into you as representing the company. So that is really great to see. What do you think as far as representing the company at the brand at the moment with Impact Wrestling? As it kind of starts from, as I said a couple of years ago, it was like kind of building from the ground up. I mean, you've been part of Impact over the years during many of the different eras. How do you feel this one kind of compares for you as you've kind of been in and out over the years?
Look at the last time I was under a contract with some iteration of this company, it was over 10 years ago. And that was a very, very different place and a very different time in wrestling overall. So when I came back, initially dipped my toes in the water during the pandemic, but when I came back full time in 2022, what I saw in front of me was a company that was doing everything right in terms of presenting a pro wrestling product. And I stand by.
Hello?
Oh, you still there?
Yeah, I get sorry, we got this something happened with technology, of course.
Yeah.
Um yeah, so you were saying it's a different company than when you left it through the pandemic and coming back. I think I got that part.
Yeah, that was about it, honestly.
Okay. Coming up you have Hiroshi Tanahashi, someone, a veteran as well. Talk about what this match means to you.
Oh man. So to me, Tanahashi is like the champion's champion. And I joined New Japan under a full-time contract in 2012. Uh, that was around the time New Japan business was starting to tick back up. And I saw thrive under a contract with that company for about 3 years until 2015. And the trajectory was upwards the entire way, in large part due to Tahashi. It, when you tour Japan, you're not just around the guys in a locker room like you would be in America. In the States, everybody kind of has to find their way to the shows, and everybody goes and does a thing afterwards. And it's less communal than it is in Japan, just due to the touring system and the size of the country overall. So I spent a lot of time around Tana, and I can list a million things that he did right, but he led behind the scenes. He led in the ring. He led out to the venue in public. I saw this guy work so hard, and he's somebody who directly rubbed off on me. Certainly, when you're going to be a leader, you have so many other duties that go well beyond performing in a great pro wrestling match. And I learned a lot of my leadership qualities from him just through osmosis, and just being there, being around him.
What can you say fans can expect from this match going forward?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I got to beat the guy, right? Like, there's a good chance he beat me. He's one of the best in the world, and has been for the duration of his career. I don't really think of anything in terms of what people's expectations are. That's not my job. My job is to go out there and just kill it. And I bet I'm like trying to secure that win, but I would imagine it's probably going to near technical wrestling more than anything else. And Tanahashi, again, like he's a wrestler. He's a classic wrestler. And I kind of consider myself in the same vein as well. So I would imagine that it's probably going to end up being very slow, being.
Okay. And also coming up emergence. It seems like you'll also have tech reuniting with time machine. Um Tell me about having Kushida there. It's like you have the best of both worlds with Chris Sabin and Kushida, and kind of what do you think each brings differently to the table when you're teaming with them?
Oh man, I mean, in terms of wrestlers, they're incredibly different. Like, Kushida's got a large mixed martial art background. He was trained by Sakuraba when he was much younger. Uh, Learned wrestling in Mexico initially, so his international scale and his versatility is probably his greatest strength. And he carried the junior division for years on his back, a lot like Tom did with the heavyweight division. Saban, though, has just been doing it for so long. It's such a high level. Like, he didn't start wrestling until his mid-20s, whereas Saban and I both started when we were teenagers. And you can't discount what Saban did within the first, 4 years career, 3 years career. I mean, he was already X Division champion. He was a superstar by then. So they've got different strengths. I personally think there's more similarities than there are differences. And I think the three of gets team together, that's something that's so near and dear to me. Like, that tugs at my heart because it's three people with one mind. And I think that's so unique and so special. And you really don't see that too much in wrestling to that level of cohesiveness. So to me, that sort of ability to
Sorry about all these technical difficulties. We'll
This is
just do
not
this
going.
for written word. We won't use the video. But with Impact coming up with their thousandth episode, there's a lot of big names coming back. Would you think we'll ever see a Paparazzi Productions reunion?
With me and Kevin, sure, yeah, maybe. I mean, we united at GCW about a year and a half ago, and it was awesome. It was so cool. And it was just awesome to see him again. He's somebody that taught me so much. Uh, and I've never thanked him enough. But it would be amazing if there were another Paparazzi Productions reunion. On top of that, there'd have to be another PC to go alongside it. That's what I would want out of it more than anything else.
Yeah, for sure. What do you how do you reflect on this? I mean, when you look at 1,000 episodes, there's so many TV shows that don't even reach this benchmark. And considering everything that Impact had gone through over the years, the growing pains, a lot of people not giving it a chance. It was kind of like this little engine that could put in perspective to what this means to you and so many others as we head into this milestone.
I think it's nice to be recognized as somebody who contributed to a large amount of those episodes. There's people who've been in that company a lot longer than me. And obviously, the longer you're there and the more different regimes and eras you've seen, it's probably more amazing. I saw one era and then I was gone for almost 10 years. And then I came back to an incredible era with Scott Demore as CEO and the entire team have right now behind the scenes. But to me, it's pretty impressive that they were able to survive. Of course, everybody in wrestling's aware of everything else going on, and it sounded like there were so many ups and downs and just so many fluctuations, and that's a huge, huge issue. It's just had to turn over annually and look at who's gone now. And it makes it very hard to build any sort of continuation. Like you're right. Like that's a strength that a lot of companies have these players in place for a decade plus, and TNA during Impact never had that. So that's the struggle that I saw firsthand. There.
So yeah, sorry. Last question, I'll let you go. Is we're heading with Bound for Glory coming up. If you successfully retain your title through that time, is there kind of like a dream match you want to see within the roster? Someone you want to see step up?
No, man, I don't really consider anything else besides whatever I have to do. You know, like selfishly, I think if there was a dream match for me, it would be Kushida against Saban. Just because I would love to see it, right? Like these are two guys who mean so much better. I'd love to see what they can do against one another, but yeah, no dream matches per se. I've got my own stuff to worry about, right?
Got it. All right. Well, there you go. Kushida versus Alex Shelley. That doesn't sound bad at Down for Glory.
Saban.
Yeah. Thank you so much for the time and kind of working through these technical issues. Sorry about that. I don't know what's been going on over here, but I appreciate the time nonetheless.
No problem.
All right. Take care, guys.
Yep.